Good afternoon and welcome back for another section of notes. Tonight we are on to our second colonial region of the Middle Colonies. Our question is the same as last night. We're just adding the Middle Colonies instead of the New England. So how do the physical, cultural, and economic characteristics of the Middle Colonies affect its lifestyle? So again, the colonies that make up the Middle Colonies include New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. The climate of this region is different than that of New England. The winters are less harsh, so it doesn't get as cold and it doesn't stay cold as long. And it's never real hot or real snow or real cold. They'll get snow, but it's not the type of snow that's just going to permanently freeze the ground and stay there for months on end. It doesn't get real hot in the summertime. They'll get warmer weather, but it's not months on end of 100-degree weather like you can see in parts of the country. And because of this, the growing season is much longer, meaning they can grow more crops. And we'll see that when it comes to their economics and how they make money. So in the agriculture of the region, the soil is okay. It's good enough for growing. They are known for cash crops. This is important to understand what this is. A cash crop is a crop that people can sell to make money off of, that they grow enough of, not just for themselves. So if you remember from last night, in the New England colonies, they were subsistence farmers, so they made just enough to subside or to live off of. In the Middle Colonies, they were able to grow enough to make cash off of or to sell and make more money. The two main cash crops for the region were corn and were wheat. As mentioned above, the growing season was longer, which makes it easier to grow for a cash crop because then they can have multiple harvests. They were also known as the breadbasket colonies because their main cash crop was wheat, and that's how you make bread, is out of wheat. So they were able to sell this wheat throughout the world and to other colonies. The culture of this region is quite a bit different than that of New England. As we'll see in a little bit, religion still played a role, but the role of religion is quite a bit different than that of New England. It's not necessarily the center of life, and there is much more religious freedom. You were able to practice many different sects of Christianity within this region. In the New England region, you had to be a certain type of Christian to be able to vote and be a part of society. Many of the people in the Middle Colonies lived on farms, and they often had tenant farmers or people that would rent out their property, grow food, and then they would pay to have that, to be able to use that property for their farm. Many others moved to the backcountry, so they moved away from the coast and into the woods, closer to the mountains, and would set up farms. As you can see in the picture, they would have their log cabin or some other style of cabin, and they wouldn't be surrounded by other people really. It wasn't a town life like we saw in New England. Big difference between the two. Economically, they made a lot of money off cattle and pigs. New England could get some money off cattle also, but their main income came from the cash crops, specifically the grain. They could grow the wheat, they could sell it, they could produce it, and it would get sold all over the world. They also did some manufacturing and were able to mine iron as well. So again, this is another short section. Tomorrow in class, we're going to be looking a little bit more depth at one colony in particular, of Pennsylvania, and see the role of William Penn. But we're also going to be comparing the two regions. So as you look back over your notes, compare the New England and Middle Colonies and what was similar about them, what were some of the differences, and if you thought about it, which ones would be better to live in your opinion. Have a good evening.